Oh, yay. Say hi when you pop in. It took me a few minutes, you know. I hate to blame it on the webcam, but I'm going to blame this on the webcam. I've been fiddling around with it, right? You know, trying to get it working. And okay, but I think I got it going on now. So say hi when you pop in. Let's let's turn the lights on, right? Get a little bit of light going on here, right? I just thought, you know, give this a shot just to see, like, if it would work properly. Then maybe I could get some work, right? Do some Zoom work if I could get into with, you know, with the crisis calls or something like that, right? You know, and help that way. That way, I'd be able to provide service at the same time, you know. Yeah, I bet you I'd be really good at that to help people feel better about what's going on out there, right? I told my sister. She says, "Oh, the city's going back. Everything's going back to." I said, "Tracy, like those viruses from Easter, they're just going to be starting to pop up in the next couple of days. Like, really, the city's going back?" And then, sure enough, I'm looking at it, and yeah, you can see the spikes, right? Big spikes too, right? All over the world. Anywheres, I guess, that would celebrate Easter, right? So say hi when you come in. Oh, Andrew's here. Hi, Andrew. How are you? Were you waiting for me? I was actually, how late am I? 10 minutes late, right? You know? Yeah, it was, you know, I'm trying to practice with this webcam, right? Because I would like to. Because sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. It's so iffy, right? And I don't think it's my computer. I'm pretty certain it's because there was a reason. I bought another webcam after I bought this one, but when that one died, right, I went back to this one, but I didn't remember what was wrong with it, right? But kind of guess I know what's wrong with it now. Oh, good. I'm glad you were on the lookout. So what was your day like today, Andrew? What did you do for yourself today? Did you read today? Do some cleaning? Right? Being Sunday, you would have stayed home anyway because of the virus, right? You know, I never even looked at the numbers, what's going on in the States or anything. Like how is Bloomingdale doing, right? You know, how are you doing? Is everybody doing okay? How have the big cases, right? We're having a really hard time here in Canada with the seniors' homes, right? Oh, a bike ride. Oh, you're like me, right, Andrew? You like the bike? I love the bike. Oh, good. That's wonderful to hear, Andrew. That's really, really wonderful. Really wonderful. Yes. You know, some of us, you know, like past couple of days, right? I've been doing some heavy subjects. I'm taking this opportunity to learn, right? To learn, right? You don't know if I could go into counseling or something, right? I could help out that way. You know, I know a lot of people are kind of iffy with the virus and stuff. Well, even me, right? You know, I'm sure all of us is going to have to talk to somebody, you know, even if it's just friends and family and stuff. Because I notice I have a little bit of that panic when I go into the grocery stores, right? You know, I can feel it in everybody. I can feel it, you know, people bumping in and giving you looks, and yeah, and I could feel it's their panic, like I can feel it, but I feel it, right? So I feel it. So yeah, going to the grocery store has not been fun for me. Oh, the soap, right? Well, I would think as long as it's antibacterial, but that would be kind of hard to find right now, Andrew, to go to the store and find antibacterial soap. I'm sure that's off the shelf. I was so grateful, you know, this week to be able to get a jug of bleach, right? That was the only thing I was concerned. I need to make sure, you know, like I like things tidy, but with the cold and stuff, I want to do my door handles and stuff, and I know bleach kills germs. You never have to worry about what's in bleach. You know what's in bleach, right? So and you know 100% that disinfects, right? I never liked the Ivory Soap. It always left a scum ring on the bathtub, right? I didn't like cleaning the scum ring from the Ivory Soap. You know, like it was a good cleaning soap. It cleaned really well, but I didn't like it. And then I didn't like the zest either. It was too perfumey, right? I didn't like the zest, but you know, I do like the Dove soap, right? I do like the Dove soap, and I always, whenever I have an opportunity and a little bit extra money, I always buy goat milk soap, right? I never have blemishes on my skin or anything, right? You know, I never have a problems with rashes or not like I have lots of problems with rashes and stuff, but you know, you know, I just always loved goat milk soap. Yeah, if anybody ever wants to try that kind of soap, I mean, they're not that more expensive. You might pay an extra dollar a bar, right? Oh, is that what it is? Ivory is natural soap. I see. I didn't know that. All I knew is it left scums. I knew it was cheap. I would buy it, right? I would buy the Ivory soap because it was cheap, right? But I didn't know that it was natural. I might have given it more tries, maybe. I used to like the old Johnson and Johnson's baby soap. The smell. The baby powder smell. I love the baby powder smell, right? You know, I used to buy it just for myself, right? I just love the smell. I love the feel of baby powder on the skin. It gives a nice feel to the skin too, right? But yeah, how did we start talking? Oh, about the hand washing, right? About the soaps. Yeah, I'm you know, with me being low income, right? You know, with me, I was never fussy about brand names. I was um more interested in the cost of things, right? So I was all about the cheap, right? You know, it was never Kraft dinner for me. It was the generic brand of macaroni for me, right? You know, things like that, you know, just you like yeah, my sisters too at the thing, you know, because every once in a while, like all the time, my sister buys groceries for me when we go grocery shopping and stuff, right? And you know, she always says, "Oh, you know, thank goodness, you know, Cindy doesn't have a problem with generic brands," because I don't have a problem with generic brands. A lot of generic brands are made, you know, like you know, our compliments pop, right? You know, is made by like Coke, right? You know, they make those products, those no name products. Hi, Kathy. Oh, you're gonna love my live tonight, Kathy. Go watch my live after this. Yeah, it was a heart wrencher for sure. That one. It was surprise. Well, I thought there was a possibility, but I think I watched it over again. I thought I did a good job. I could have held it together a little bit better, but I thought I did a good job getting the message across. But yeah, Kathy, you're not going to want to miss that one. So yeah, when we're done our lives tonight, make sure you go and watch, or maybe if you can even do both at the same time, right? Put your headset on and watch this on your computer, and then put your headset on and listen to my live. It wasn't a long one. It was my usual half an hour tonight, but yeah, it was good. It was I haven't done one of those for a long time, but you know, it's how I've been feeling this week, right? You know, I'm feeling not being able to get out into nature, right? I know it sounds strange, but it affects me physically, right? And emotionally. No, not physically. I'm not affected physically from not being out in nature, but I'm affected emotionally, right? Not being able to be out in nature, just like even sitting, you know, at my kitchen window with the window open, right? You know, like even that helps. And you know, it's nice that I have my trees, right? Like I can sit here and I can look out my trees and see the birds, right? And that makes me happy. Like I can see the buds all on the branches now. All the buds are out. So maybe next week I'll take camera over to the window and show everybody the beautiful tunnel. Like you would never have seen such a tunnel of trees, of elm trees, right? Like our elm trees, they were all planted in I think between, well, on this side of the river, it would have been around 1909, 1910. I think they would have done these streets, right? Because people didn't really come to this side of the river until just after that, right? They were on the other side of the river up until then, right? But it got a little ruffian, right? Because it was the beginning of the Depression, right? The army, the war was over. Everybody, all the guys were coming home. The men had come into the city to make some money, to help support the farm and get the farms back up and running, because it was the wives that were running the farms, right? In order to keep the land, the wives were running those farms, and yeah, so it got pretty rough downtown. They ended up like 24 railways through our city, right? At that time, like right through downtown. Like there was one railway that ran right through downtown, right? We were fabrics. We did textile manufacturing here in Manitoba, but at the same time, everything that came to North America came through Winnipeg and then got distributed, right? From Winnipeg, it would get shipped on a train to anywhere. So like I said, we had 24 rail lines coming through Manitoba. So anything going to the West Coast, all the stuff going into the States. But when the Panama Canal opened up, right? Yeah, it didn't survive anymore. It was cheaper, than to do it across land. It was cheaper to bring it through the Panama Canal. So yeah, that didn't help with the recession, and we're about to go into another recession, aren't we? We're about to go into another one. You're going to be getting, if people have a little bit of money, it would be maybe good time to invest in some things that people are selling, right? People are going to have to get rid of their toys, right? They're going to get rid of the ATVs. They're going to get rid of the boats, right? Whatever your thing is, right? Those things will be coming up and they'll be going really cheap, right? Because of the crisis and people trying to get back on their feet. And that's usually how economy goes. But at the same time, being a disaster, we thrive. The world usually has a good thrive right after the big things, big crises going on in the world, right? Yeah. And baby boom, right? There's going to be a huge, wow, maybe one of the, definitely it's got to be the biggest baby boom in history, right? Coming up, because everybody is trapped inside. What do you got to do to entertain yourself, right? Like, what do you have to do to entertain yourself except make babies and yell at your kids, right? Yeah. Oh, the university is one of its biggest employers. So Bloomington, is that a smaller city then? If the university is the biggest business, that would be biggest employer, would that be? Yeah, we have some huge, but things are cheap. Like even the States, all those face masks, like this, that President Trump, like, I'll just tell you this, that President Trump that said that Canada was holding all those face masks and everything, not talking about those teenagers that were selling them for $18 online, but the company, the big company here in Canada that was making them, right? And then Trump didn't want those face masks to be shared with Canada, and there was a big huff and puff about it, right? But they were in the States. The big companies in the States, they were making the face masks, and they didn't want to share them with Canada. They wanted the company to cancel all the 3M. They wanted to cancel all the 3M product that was going to Canada. But what Trump didn't know was that some of the materials that were made to make those face masks for 3M in the States were actually manufactured in Canada. Like, Canada didn't play that game. Canada didn't say, oh, well, then, okay, we're going to make the whole world suffer. We're not going to give you this product so you can make face masks. Like, Canada didn't do that, right? So, it reminds me, it reminds me of the Titanic, right? The Titanic, when that man dressed up like a woman, he dressed like up a woman so he could jump into the lifeboat, right, and be saved because, he knew that all the men were going to die, right? Because the men were expected to be gentlemen and hold etiquette and let the wives and kids go, right? And he decided to dress like a woman and get himself in a lifeboat. I don't know what the comparison it is, but it did pop into my mind, so I blew that story there. So there you go. But yeah, so I hope everything is going much better. I hope they got all their 3M and yeah, like even President Trump, he made it sound like it was a big company and everything that was ripping off. It was only 1,000 masks. Number one, it was only 1,000. It wasn't like loads and loads and loads and loads. It was 1,000 masks, and they were kids. They were kids doing. They did a stupid thing, right? Without thinking. They just became entrepreneur, right? Decided to become entrepreneur and turn it into a business. But they were kids that hadn't yet learned about, business etiquette and maybe morals. A little bit of morality could have been added into that too, right? But they were kids, right? Sometimes you gotta make allowances for people who make, not just kids, not just kids, right? Like we all do that. We all make stupid moves. We all make stupid decisions. We all stick our foot in our mouths. Like even the president, you got to give him a break. He made a mistake. He didn't realize that, without Canada, there wouldn't be any 3M masks, right? Because they made some of the products that they use to make those masks, right? So, okay, well, cut Canada off those masks, then we'll send these products over somewhere to China, and maybe China will make these masks for us, at a quarter of the price, like you don't know, right? You kind of got to feel things out. You got to kind of second guess. That doesn't mean that you're not going to make a mistake, right? A miscalculation, right? Like those kids did. They made a miscalculation. They missed out a vital bit of information, a vital bit of morality in them, and they're definitely paying a price right now, right? They're definitely not going to get scot. I heard it was like a $1 million lawsuit, right? Ah, there you go, Andrew. Yes, that's perfect. And yeah, they were thinking right away, we're just going to make some big money, but they made a mistake and they didn't take into the human factor, right? When entrepreneurs, especially entrepreneurs, that's their life, that's their livelihood, that's their business, right? And these kids were probably just starting up and it was their own first little enterprise, right? Right? And they blew it right off the hop, and it drew some bad attention to them and drew a lawsuit, which I'm sure will be dropped. I mean, it's not like the big company's ever going to get $1 million, off a bunch of university kids, right? So yeah, you gotta, stupid things, right? I did stupid things. I got caught for shoplifting a hair color, right? In my 20s. I was in my 20s. I was sure. Yeah, I was sure I was in my 20s, right? You know? And what does that do? That what does it do? That gets you downtown and they pluck your hair out and they take your fingerprints, right? You know? And that lives with you. That lives for you. Like, there are people out there who do much worse things than that, right? But that was a bad decision on my part, right? That was, and if I had a chance to do it over again, I certainly would have, right? But stupid kids, you don't take things into consideration. You don't look at consequences. And yeah, at that time in my life, probably I probably didn't care. I probably was quite selfish, right? Well, no, I wasn't like that, right? But I was around bad influence. I did have bad influences in my life, right? You know, yeah, I don't know. But the thing is, that's a little bit of shame that you carry on. And also at the same time, I never applied. I never achieved to be the person that I could have been, right? The person that I could have been, because I never went for those jobs that would let anybody know that I had shoplift that hair color, right? Right? A hair color. I allowed that hair color to hold me back. Like I would be the perfect person to send into elementary schools, right? To talk to the kids about shoplifting, right? About etiquette, right? Because even though I didn't practice good etiquette myself in the past, right? I know about good etiquette, right? I grew up learning good at etiquette, forced, right? Forced. But a lot of it now I would pick up for myself out of want, right? Instead of at that time, fighting it, right? Resisting it, right? I've been doing a lot of looking back, right? I've got to take responsibility for a lot of it too, right? I was stubborn. I was independent. I've always been stubborn and independent. Excuse me. Burp hiccups. I just had dinner. I made a lovely stew for dinner. I made a lovely stew. No potatoes, right? But I don't eat the potatoes. I just put lots of carrots and celery and yeah, vegetable mix. I had a nice vegetable mix, a Japanese vegetable mix. I had English vegetable mix. I added to it with I don't eat it. I don't eat it lots, but I like zucchini in stew. I do like zucchini in stew, and I like zucchini in soup too. And I like zucchini loaf as a dessert. Yeah, I do like that. But yeah, I had some zucchini, threw it in the stew, and I had a lovely dinner, right? At least I'm eating healthily, right? I had a bag of popcorn. Had a bag of popcorn today, and I shouldn't be eating the popcorn because it's not good for my intestines. It scrapes all the way through. Well, maybe that's a good thing. It scrapes out all the stuff that clings to the walls, I guess, and stuff, and keeps them nice and clean. But I'm sure they're all scratched up and bleeding at the same time. You never know. Yeah, popcorn. I like popcorn, right? Like to go to a movie and have a big bag of popcorn with that tons of that artificial butter. Like, oh, I could just smell the theater pop. And there's a difference. Like you can't make popcorn at home the same way, as theater popcorn. It's a totally different thing where every kernel is perfect and the butter is good because they do have butter and have the oil. And then they have those extra pumps where you can just load it on some more, right? Always gives me an upset stomach, but there are some things in life that you love so much, right? Like you love so much that you'll eat it anyway, right? Like with me, shrimp. I actually get food poisoning. Like I have bad reactions to eating jumbo shrimp, but I love jumbo shrimp, right? But if you don't clean them out really good, you don't get that black vein out of there. Like you could die, right? Without if you don't have that thing cleaned out properly, right? But I get sick every time. But I love shrimp so much, like the breaded butterfly shrimp. Oh my God, yeah, I just love it. Yeah, and along with cutting down the carbs, right? Eliminate one thing so that when you fall off your diet, right? When you fall off your diet, that one thing at least is not in your diet. With me, it's been bread. I think it's been 2 months now. I've had no bread in 2 months. I'm just so thrilled, right? Like I'm starting not to miss the bread. Like I'm starting not to miss the bread. It's just like when I used to smoke cigarettes, and that was the stupidest thing. I didn't smoke cigarettes for a long time, but I smoked cigarettes pretty heavy for for quite a while, right? You know, and yeah, when I quit it for the first little while, you know, I wanted to smoke cigarettes, and you know, and I just loved everybody smoking around me and everything, just so I could smell them. And you know, after a while, you don't even think about the cigarettes anymore, and then the smoke, people smoking starts to bother you, and then you notice it on people's clothes, and yeah, and then you just, after a while, you just don't even want it around you, right? But I'm just as concerned with those vaping things, right? You know, my sister does those vaping things, and those things have even more nicotine in them. So I don't know what good it is from stopping smoking to doing the vapes. Like I don't see the difference, right? I don't see the difference. But yeah, lots of people quitting smoking, and then they're going onto the vaping machines, and they're doing it in school too. The kids are doing it in school. We did the stupid thing. They'll, you know, like 30% of them anyway will grow out of that, right? You know, they'll pass by that, and then you know the other 30% are savable, right? Where with just a little bit of good influence, right? You know, a little bit of good guidance, or somebody noticing something about them and taking a little bit of interest in them, right? That you know they could stop smoking or take care of a bad habit even, right? Yeah, and then the other 30%, right? You could maybe give them ideas and give them hope, right? And get it in their mind, right? So that they could try every once in a while. They can just not stop trying, and then, you know, maybe not in this life, but in the next life, they'll get it, right? Yeah. But yeah, good for you, Andrew, cutting back those carbohydrates. I've been eating things like date slice, right? You know, I've been allowing the oats, right? I've been allowing the oats, and I pick up, see, if I give up bread, I found for the first little while I was eating more like potato chips and more cookies and crackers and things like that. But now after a while with not eating as much carbs in the breads, I find I don't need as much carbs in the other things, right? I'm still eating the carbs, and I did lose another pound this week, but I'm not going to be doing that on the scale, off the scale every day, because that becomes neurotic and obsessive, right? You know, and I don't want to have those problems, right? I want to take away the problems. I don't want to add on to them, right? Because it would be so easy to beat myself up every day about the diet. Now that I don't jump on the scale every day, I jump on once a week, right? Then each day isn't beat up on Cindy Day, right? So yeah, that it works. It works actually quite perfect for me. Yeah, right. Because there's nothing worse than being hard on yourself, right? You know, I'm happy at the weight I am, right? If I lose another 10 pounds, perfect, right? And that 10 pounds will come off, right? You know, I notice every day, right? You know, I'm under the same amount of stress as I always was, but I am dealing with that stress a lot better. It might not seem like it right now, but I am. Like, you know, like I'm dealing with that stress a whole lot better. I guess because I'm dealing it visually now, like outside, right? You know, I'm bringing those things that I was dealing with inside, and I'm bringing them outside. And I figure if they're outside, then maybe they'll just stay outside from now on, right? Not just eat up the inside, right? And it does feel good. It's a little embarrassing, but you know, it does feel good. It does feel good, right? Because that's what you're supposed to do is, you know, talk it out, cry it out, right? Yeah, and yeah, so that's what I've been doing, and it's been working. It's slow, right? It's slow. I'm coming from being a zero, and I'm aiming for the top, right? So I gotta expect, and you know, I'm here for another 50 years, so I'll take my time. I don't care if I'm like that That guy, remember that guy on YouTube that sang a song every night for 10 years, and then finally his channel went absolutely viral. And all he did was take his guitar and sit on his couch every night, and he would sing a song before he went to bed on his YouTube channel. And then after about 10 years, right, like as soon as YouTube came out, he was on it, and he became a superstar, and he sang the songs, and then something happened. He got hacked or something, right? They hacked his channel, or something went funny in the analytics or something, and his channel crashed, right? And then the public remembered him. And there was a big revival on his channel now. I don't know if it was just successful or not, but I know lots of famous people, like well-known, well, I don't know if they were famous, but well-known people, and his subscribers and followers, you know, they encouraged him to start another channel, and they tried to push it to see if it would go off again. Like, I don't know if it ever did. I'd be curious. I don't even remember what the name of his channel was, but I know he used to just come on and sing a song every night. But right when his channel took off and he was ready, he was just starting to be a big YouTube star, and his channel it tanked, right? Something went wrong and it tanked. I think it was a hack. I think he got hacked. I think that's what it was. And that's true, Andrew. That is true, you know, because sometimes, like when I was working and on my days off, right, you know, I would have those days where I'd want to eat healthy, but at the same time I wanted to pig out, right? And I had a few dishes. Like I had this Chinese spaghetti dish that I did, where I would make a beautiful, beautiful spaghetti sauce, you know, with the meat and the vegetables and the stewed tomatoes and the sauce and the spices. Beautiful, beautiful, the best, most gorgeous mushrooms, everything in this beautiful, beautiful sauce, right? But instead of using noodles, right? I took a cabbage and I shredded the cabbage in strips, you know, just dice until they were like in little strips. And then I broke it all up and I boiled it, right? And then I added it to the spaghetti sauce and I let it simmer. Like you could even put the raw cabbage in there and let it simmer, right? But then you don't have a good idea of how much the cabbage is. Well, I guess, yeah, either way is good. Yeah, add the cabbage right to the sauce, let it simmer. And I would eat that whole thing. I could eat that whole thing. I could eat bowls and bowls and bowls of it, right? For 2 days. Eat as much as I want, make myself ill, right? And not gain any weight at all, right? It's like cabbage rolls, but it's lazy cabbage rolls. But instead of using it, well, you use the no rice. You just eliminate the rice from the diet or from the recipe, right? So if you want to do like it's called halachi, right? It's a Ukrainians, right? Cabbage rolls, yeah. I love cabbage rolls. Do they do cabbage rolls in the States? Is it popular in the States? Here in Manitoba, cabbage rolls are very, very popular. But we have a large Ukrainian community here in Manitoba, right? We have a large Ukrainian. You can always tell because they always have big onion domes on top of their churches, right? We have a lot of Ukrainian churches. Yeah, they're Canadian Orthodox, right? Church. Oh no. Canadian, yeah, Orthodox, Canadian, Ukrainian Orthodox. It's the Canada Church, right? They had to get special permissions and everything, right? But they have their own denomination here, the Orthodox. It was a Greek Orthodox, right? The Canadian Greek Orthodox. It's but because they were all Russian Orthodox before, right? And they wanted their own church, and they got it too, right? It thrives so well too. Yeah, another great Canadian contribution, right? You know, like yeah. So they separated from the Russian church and formed their own Ukrainian Ukrainian, yeah, Ukrainian church. Yeah. I'm just reading some of the comments here. But I do, right? The carbs are my downfall. I love dairy too, but I can live without dairy. Like I started buying that liquid coffee mate, right? You know, because I do find that I have a problem with dairy, right? And I love ice cream. Like I really do love ice cream. But if it means I have to give up ice cream, right? And I guess I can still have the treats every once in a while, right? You know, if I make it a special treat day or something, but I don't want to get into the habit of eating a lot of dairy anymore, right? You know, sour cream maybe. Yeah, I do like. See, I like dairy. I like dairy, but dairy doesn't like me. I've discovered, right? Yeah. And I think that's something new too, I'm getting more mature. I think that's something we slowly grow out of the need of having is that dairy, right? Oh, okay. Yeah, on my both sides actually are Protestant. My mother's side and my dad's side, I think, are both Protestant. But my mother has tried out so many denominations. Yeah, yeah, my mother spent her life, you know, just looking for a proper church for herself, you know, and we moved lots, right? We moved lots. So whatever church might have been close, or, you know, my mother wasn't fussy on the denominations, right? You know, I know my mother was a religious person. I know for sure my mother believed in God. I know that much, right? But yeah, I don't, you know, she did a lot of denomination. I know that for sure. She did a lot of denominations. Is that what it is? It doesn't metabolize that way? It doesn't metabolize? Is that, yeah, I all I know is I do get upset stomachs now with the dairy, right? You know, if I do too much dairy. And it does interfere with my weight loss too, right? But I'm glad I finally got this. See, but what I said, sometimes the camera works, sometimes it doesn't want to work, right? And, you know, if I could figure out what, you know, I'm actually thinking about tearing it apart, right? And, you know, and see, because I can hear it. Whatever it is, it's loose. It's just loose. It's sitting in there, and I can jiggle it, and I can hear it in the bottom of the camera, right? So whatever it is has come loose, right? I don't know if it's broken, but it's definitely come loose. Hi, Owen. Oh, Owen's here now too. How are you doing today? What were you doing on a Sunday besides taking care of mom? Oh, well, that is good. If you don't know that, then you can't be that overweight at all, Andrew, right? You know, I like a little bit extra, right? I like a little bit extra. You know, I like to have, I don't know why. I think it's very womanly, and maybe it's like, you know, when peacocks go to fight and they make themselves big with the colors, maybe it's a little bit that. Maybe that's something I need to work on next to see if it's a little bit of something like that. But I do like to have, you know, maybe I'm afraid. Maybe I'm afraid and I don't want to get so, but I'm 58 years old now, right? Like, so what do I care, right? It's not like I'm looking to get married again, right? You know, I think I was like supposed to be like my Aunt Dodie, right? Like my Aunt Dodie never got married in her whole life, right? You know, I think the only reason we had this conversation on my live on Instagram, you know, like I think the only reason I married my husband is because that's what all the girls wanted. That's what my sisters wanted. That's what the girls at school wanted, right? And of course I wanted what they wanted, right? You know, I wanted, you know, everything that they had for their lives. I wanted that for myself. It's not like I expected anything more, right? I just wanted as much, right? And what was I going to say about that? I was gonna I was going to say something. I was going to say something about that, right? You know, um, yeah. Oh, about wanting to be married, right? You know, I don't know. I don't know if I would have, if I had had a real choice and if I was myself and I actually got to make that decision on myself, if I really even wanted to be married, right? I don't know. Like it, and that's not something I'm going to bother even to look back on, right? You know, because it doesn't matter anymore because it didn't happen for my life, right? So I'm not going to contemplate what if, right? You know, only if it were the aspects that it might help somebody else out, right? If I thought it might help somebody else out, then I would try and figure it out. But I don't think it really matters. Really? You know, it's a stumble life, right? It's just like everywhere you turn, you're walking into something, right? You're bumping into something, you're walking into something, you're stumbling over something, right? Like I lived that life, right? You know, and uh, you know, I still live that life every once in a while, not like I used to, right? And it doesn't bother me the way it never really bothered me to start with because I kind of expected it, right? Right? Like you know, you get what you expect, you know. If I thought that's the way my life was gonna go, right? That's what life was gonna serve me, right? So that's why I think positively. And you know, it may seem a little egotistical, right? You know, that I strive and I work and I have these thoughts and these opinions and these goals in life, right? You know, like who is she, right? Like why, right? But you know, we all get that opportunity to see how far we want to progress, right? Like it's all about evolution, right? If I can move evolution forward just a little bit, you know, if even just for myself, right? Right? You know, everybody has the right to go off and find their own little happiness, right? And whatever it is that you feel that you need, go pursue it, right? You're either going to find out that it's exactly what you need, or you're going to find something else along the way, or hopefully find out that it wasn't right for you in the first place, and hopefully you find that out right away, right? Right? Your mom too, right? Yeah, that you know, but when you spend so much alone, right? Then you're spending it in your head, right? Oh, and I bet you spend a ton of time in your head, and I bet you Andrew spends a ton of time in his head, right? You know, like we I know I do when I spend time on my own, but I want to experience life, right? I don't want to be just a spectator. I want to join in, right? You know, I want to be a participant. Like even here on our Chatters Live, like you know, all of us participating like this in the comments and stuff like that, right? We all spend too much time in our head, Andrew. No question. No, there's no question about it, right? Yeah. You know, I've been studying lots about it, right? And you know, it's after a while when it's your experiences, right? And for some of us it dictates how we feel about ourselves, right? And sometimes, you know, we'll jump on the bandwagon, you know, ourselves, and then we end up treating ourselves the same way that we perceive others to treat us, right? And then we end up doing the same thing to ourselves. And then once you got yourself in that boat, it's so hard, right? to pull yourself out. It's a chore. I tell you, I'm doing it, right? Like I'm doing it. It's hard work, right? It's hard work, but hopefully, I know, because even if I were to stop right now, if I were to just stop right now, how much better would my life be at this point right now, right? Yeah, amazing. I love Google. I love YouTube. Like none of this would have happened, right? It's like like they gave me the opportunity to discover myself again, right? To actually have a chance at having a life. Just even the pursuit, just even in the pursuit, right? Like, how fun is this at this moment right now that I'm sitting here with people from all over Canada and the US and who knows all over the world, right? Right? And because I took those chances and I decided to learn those skills, that I'm actually able to sit here and we've made these friendships that we kept for years, right? Yeah. And to think, right? To think, and it's such a good pace, right? Because if it was going crazy fast, like I hope all you guys got my emails, right? Because like if I did get really 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 popular, right? Then it wouldn't be able to build the relationships that we have right now, like we do, right? Yeah. It's a good thing that most of you got wrenches, right? So that I can recognize you when you pop in, right? And that's the one good thing about the going live, right? Is as you have those, and then right away, I see that blue wrench right away. Yeah. So, and I think I will continue to do that, right? To get those blue wrenches, because how do you notice, like, some of these big people, like Adam the Woo, right? Like, who has a gazillion followers now. I always wanted to be like his channel, right? But he didn't start that way. He started with nothing, right? With no followers and everything, and he was able to answer. I remember him replying to every single one of my comments when I would comment and stuff, right? If I were to comment now on his channel, more than likely I wouldn't even get a thumbs up on it, right? Because after a while, there's so many followers and so many eyeballs and so many conversations going on, right, in the comments, that then the creator no longer stays connected with the ones that they were most loyal, that trudged through the mud with them, right? Yeah, so it's great. I'm just going to keep divvying out, I don't care. I'm just going to keep divvying out those wrenches, right? So that I know I can spot you when you walk into the comments, right? See, see that confidence that one day, right? That one day. Yeah. And that's what you got to do, right? Yeah. Well, it's nice to get it in touch with as many people and touch as many people as you can, right? But yeah, it's that personal touch, right, Andrew? Right? Wouldn't that be sad if we lost touch after being together all these years now, and then all of a sudden, that we lost touch, and then amazing things, you find the best job or you hit the lottery, and you're traveling the world, you're writing your book, right? Right? And then I didn't get to be a part of this. Like, I get to be a part of your lives just as much as you guys get to be a part of mine, right? I get to hear about your sore knees and living with your mom, right? Your bottle digging and your coloring, and like I hear all these stories, right? And I get to know you and connect with you, and yeah, so yeah, that is it. That is the one thing about when you do blow up, right? But I don't think, like, I know there are people in my category that do really really well, but I'm going to be doing mine, like, once I can get on the road, like this, right, is just going to tie into my adventures, right? yeah, I just got to figure out how to start a little business that I can start bringing in the money so that I can get my car back, so that I can get on the highway, so that I can go exploring, so that I can afford to get an editor, right? Get an editor, start getting popular on YouTube, right? And then be able to go out and make even better content, right? And that's how it starts. And then just have it roll ball, and hopefully I've got all you guys with your blue wrenches by then. It's funny. It's funny the way I think, right? Like it's so certain, right? But I have these things, right? Like, like when I know, I just know, right? And I don't know how it's gonna play out, but I do, right? I do know. Yeah, it's just gotta wait for it. Oh, that would have been interesting. Lived in a huge rundown house with cats and raccoons. Yeah, as a kid, I didn't like to hear the things scurrying across the floor. I remember a house we lived in that it was an attic bedroom. It had it was long, had two bedroom partitions, but then it had side attic, I guess they used for storage, and we could always hear things scurrying around in there. And then, oh, my sister had this one terrifying night where she was just seeing fairies all over the attic and everything. That was that year we were out on that farm, right? We were out on that farm, and she scared the poop out of us. None of us wanted to sleep up there anymore. It was so she scared us so much, right? Like it was almost like she was sleepwalking, but she was freaking out about the fairies and stuff. And yeah, it was, yeah. Oh, Grey Gardens. I'll write that down. I'll check it out. Actually, let's just take a look at my notes and see what Cindy's been saying. I don't know if it's anything. Oh, I've been studying moral philosophy, right? I was changed my ink. Oh, because I'm so independent, right? Like, which is a rarity in itself, being an independent impact, because usually they're usually pretty codependent, right? And I'm still codependent, but I'm very independent, right? Yeah, it's giving me the 5 traits, but it's all tied up underneath my complex trauma, right? But yeah, I was reading about the paramedics and the soldiers, and the police officers and stuff, the trauma, their trauma, right? Like that is, because they relive those moments, right? They relive those moments. I don't I don't relive moments at all. I don't relive any of those moments, any of my moments in my life. I don't relive them. But what I do is I hold on to the feelings of things, right? The feelings of those moments, those feelings, how those moments in my life, how I felt. I hold, whether it was a good moment or a bad moment, I hold on to those feelings. And I've gotten rid of a lot of the bad ones, and I've been keeping the good ones, but they say you have to get rid of the good ones too. But at the same time, I don't know, they can just go on their own, right? Oh, Andrew, I saw your email. Thank you for reminding me. Thank you for reminding me, because I have to go into my emails tonight, because I saw there was one from my work program saying something about putting me in a class already. I'm just all freaked out. I'm ready to get some help, right? I'm ready to get some help, because I don't even want to go. Oh, it's raining, it's pouring. It's raining. It's raining. I love the rain. It's no, like it's seriously, it's raining hard. So I love that. I love that. It's our first real, like it's been spitting here and there, but it hasn't had a good rain, which means we might see some green. We might see some green in the next couple of days. Oh, wouldn't that be amazing to see some green? Yeah, they're putting in some more bicycle paths in the city and some more trails in the parks, right? To keep everybody apart. They've got security. They're friendly people, but you know there's security just to walk by and make sure everybody's staying apart, right? But yeah, Easter, you know, we had some spikes. We had some spikes in cases this weekend, and I knew we were going to. I told my sister, I says, you know, like, yeah, we're going to see those Easter, and it's big spikes, like bigger spikes than we've had, bigger spikes that we've had since this whole thing. So, yeah, we're just going to have to wait and pay this out. They might have to rethink everything, right? Because I noticed it's all the provinces had a spike from the Easter, right? I don't know. I don't know what they could possibly do with this, right? I don't want to get this. I don't want I don't want to get this flu, right? Because you know, they don't know where it came from. They don't know if it's human manufactured. They don't know if it's animal manufactured. They don't know nothing. They don't know nothing about this flu, right? Yeah, maybe it's got like special smarts, right, to target certain people and stuff, right? Now I'm conspiracy theorying this, right? You know, just seems that every day everybody has a conspiracy theory these days about what's going on, right? You know, it's conspiracy. How many conspiracy theories are there out there? Elvis Presley, DB, oh, what was his name? DB Cooper, DB Cooper, the guy who jumped from the plane with all the money. Oh, there's a treasure in a desert somewheres. Yeah, yeah, lots of conspiracy theories. What's so good? What's so good? What did you say, Kathy? What was so good? That the movie Grey Gardens? Is that what you're talking about? Grey Gardens? Yeah, that's what it is. Andrew, it's all about the emotion. It's, you know, it's how we were brought up as kids, what the things that we let influence us, the things that made us back away and become private people the way we did, right? You know, you go back and think to see how you were actually influenced, right? That maybe you can go off and do things, right? Like maybe you were supposed to be a great writer, right? That's why I'm writing right now on Instagram. Oh, perfect. I'm going to check it out. I wrote it down here for my notes, so I'm gonna see it. I'm gonna see it. I wrote gray. I didn't write gardens. I better write that gardens. Yeah, so I'll definitely check that out tonight for sure. Oh, biopic. Okay, here we go. You know, Owen? Yeah, right. Right. And it gives you anxiety, right? Like it just holds you back, right? You know, it's like me not asking, right? Like me yeah, I never liked phones. With me, I hated phones. I hated phones, right? I never wanted to answer the phone. I didn't care. I didn't care who it was on the end, right? If it was my sisters, my mom. Yeah, like, you know, I make very, very few calls, even to this day, right? I keep in touch with my sisters just because I know they'd worry about me, right? But you know, that all comes from my childhood, right? My my limiting beliefs about myself. Like, you never know what I could have been, right? You know, I could have been a writer. I could have been a great, I mean, I still have an opportunity if I wanted to, right? But if I had started early, like I remember having a story of mine, like very, very young as a small child, like maybe grade 1 or 2 even, right? And having a story that I wrote circulate through the entire school system, right? I was very creative, very imaginative, right? Like I lived on comic books, you know. My dad would give us money. We'd run down to the store and get comic books and pop and chocolate bars and potato chips. It was every day we had treats like that when he'd come home for break for dinner, right? You know, as a cab driver, he'd come home for dinner before he'd take off. And, you know, he'd always give us money to run down to the store and pick up treats, right? And yeah, comic books, right? You know, I learned to read I was reading, I would say by 4 years old, I was reading. Because I remember I was reading, same time I was reading, I was high diving off of high boards, right? In swimming. I could have been a famous writer because I had this story going through the school. That was how good it was. It like I'm just starting school, right? But it was never encouraged. Nobody watered that plant, that seed, right? Nobody said, oh, well, you know, she's got a talent. Let's see. Maybe she can do something a little bit better. Maybe we can get her some tutorage or something, you know, or even give me a little bit of praise, because I was one of those people, like, if you said good job, I would work 100 times harder, right? I always wanted to give to those who appreciated and recognized what I brought to the table. That's why I made like the best employees in these places that I went to, because I tried so hard, right? And I would always float. I would try and learn every single position in the company, right? So I just floated absolutely everywhere, right? So obviously I became a good juggler at things too, right? But I took on too much, right? Caused me a lot of stress trying to keep everybody happy, everybody calm, right? But it was fun. Right? It made me feel good to know that I could do that. Like I could take care of it like that. Like it made me feel like I felt like I was of value, right? Like, yeah, that they couldn't do without me. And again, it's all stuff that you have to work through, right? And it's all from the childhood, all of it. Yeah, all of it. Yeah. We are what the 5 closest people to us, that's who we are, right? So you can luck out and have 5 good influencers, or you can luck out and have 5 bad influencers, right? And that's what everybody that you bump into, every interaction that you have throughout your entire life, that's an influence, right? That's somebody that has the opportunity to influence you. And I can tell you, I've been influenced by a lot of people, right? And at the same time, right, I still decided to take on those personas or take on those traits to myself, right? I picked and choose, right? That was my decision. Nobody forced that on me. Nobody stuffed down my throat. Like, this is my brain. It's not like, right? Right? Even if I did do things to appease people, or to smooth things over in whatever situation, that was still my choice to do that, right? And sometimes, I do that. Sometimes I want to jump in and I want to fix things, and it's not for me to fix, right? It's not for me to advance anybody's evolution, right? It's for them to discover, right? And if they had a question, they could answer me, just like if I had a question, I could ask them, right? And right, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, well, it just wasn't the timing, or it wasn't meant to be, one or the other, right? Yeah, if anybody had given me a little bit of attention when I was a little kid, right? I was lucky, that people always wanted to help, but I knew better because if it got back, right? Like I would be, yeah, it's it's hard, right? Like, yeah, I wish there were people, there was somebody that I could have talked to about it. I did have a girlfriend. I did have a girlfriend in my senior years in high school. I did make a friend, right? And I talked to her, and she was a good listener, right? But she had her own problems, right? Like, her mother passed on her when she was still very, very young and everything, and she had lots of problems, and she still does, and she follows in her mom's steps with her mother's problems too. So so we all have problems. We all have problems, right? It's just a matter of, do we have somebody who can talk to them or talk to about them, right? Or is there someone that we see in the neighborhood, whether it's a neighbor's kid or somebody at the church or somebody at school, somebody that you see passing on the sidewalk every day, somebody you bump into at the corner store, but if you see, yeah, my crew is smart. You pick up on these things, right? Like, you can tell if somebody needs a little bit of encouragement. I give compliments all the time. If a compliment is genuine, right? If somebody is wearing, like, I did a lot of restaurant, a lot of retail and stuff. But if somebody came in and had a beautiful top on them, right? I would always, even something as small as complimenting a nice shirt. Oh, what a great choice on shirt. Gee, it's like, does that look good on you, right? And if it's genuine, if you truly feel that way, then of course it's appropriate to say something, because then what that does is that helps somebody else to feel a little bit better about themselves, right? Maybe they saved 6 months because that was like the most expensive sweater, right? And they're worried that they spent so much money on the sweater, and now they got validation that, oh, okay, I got a compliment on it, right? Or at the same time, maybe they thought the color wasn't right on them or something, right? Or does it look good on me, right? And then you get that feedback, positive feedback from somebody, how good that makes you feel, right? you know yeah, so many times, right? And that time that I stole that hair color too, I know exactly why. And I'm not going to blame it on anything, because again, that was my choice, right? I stole that hair color. At first it wasn't intended, but as I'm leaving the store, I saw that hair color underneath, my groceries and stuff, and I knew that it hadn't been paid for yet because it wasn't in the bag, and yet I walked out the store with it sitting there anyway, right? You know, but yeah, it's I had just lost a job, right? I had just lost a job, and they were having shortages in the merchandise and stuff, right? And they were trying to find out who it was, and they just let everybody go, right? And I guess I felt like they were accusing me or something of stealing from their store, because I felt that way, and because I lost my job, and I guess okay, you think I'm a thief, then I might as well be one. Like, maybe it was something like that. I don't know. It was so long ago, right? But that I could see myself doing something like that. I could see myself doing something like that, right? Beat myself up, think bad about myself, and then just say, hey, if you think that I'm that way, then yeah. But I mean, I wasn't the only person, but I did take it personally, right? I did take it personally, right? They called it a layoff, but it was actually they just fired a whole bunch of people, right? But to be amongst that group, right? And yeah, I didn't like the job. I didn't like the job. I didn't like the job anyway, right? It was just one of those jobs to keep a roof over my head and give me a little bit of money so that I can go off and have fun and do what I really wanted to do, right? Yeah. Okay, everybody. What's going on in the comments here? Oh, really? That's lovely. Isn't that lovely, Andrew? Is somebody I do sir all the time. I don't care if you're wearing scrubby jeans. What I do sir all the time. All the time. Even if I'm giving somebody hack, right? Ooh, I go, hey, little bit too close, sir, right? Right? Because if you do that, you put that sir there, you're offering that respect, right? You're offering that respect and acknowledgement, right? You're not making an assumption. And you know, I'm big on that. It takes all kinds to make the world. And you know, I would like to think that I don't judge, but I mean, I was judged my whole life. I was judged my whole life, and as much work as I have done on judgment, right? As much work as I've done on judgment, you know, you can call it discerning. You can call it discerning, but you know, you're judging, right? Even if you're going back and you're analyzing, you're thinking, and you're trying to figure it out and stuff like that, right? You know, and then you call it discerning. It's still judging. So how do you go about, you know, telling people and giving them advice and stuff unless you're giving them a judgment, right? Like yeah, that aspect is all a little bit confusing, understanding the differences and stuff, right? And I've been working with that a little bit too, but it doesn't seem any more clear today than it did last week or last year. Right? Right? So I'm working through that because if I expect it, right? If I expect it and I live by it, right? I should think it too, right? It takes all kinds. And I keep saying that to myself. It takes all kinds to make the world good or bad, right? Right? What kind of job would the pastor be able to do if he didn't have a flock to take care of, right? Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, everybody, that's my end of my live tonight. Yeah, let's see. If I can have to come on Wednesday, right? We'll do Wednesday. See, which is what I should have done. Yeah, I'm just the person to send into those elementary schools, right? Because I know the possibilities of what I could have done, right? What kind of jobs I would have had, right? If I was either brave enough to admit what I had done, but because I didn't want anybody to know I stole that hair color, I never applied for those jobs that required criminal checks or, you know, they wanted to inquire from me. I never applied for any of those positions, right? Because it was the shame, right? The shame that I had done it, the shame that I had gotten caught doing it, and the shame that I've got to carry something like that along with me for the rest of my life, right? You know, so yeah, one stupid move and it could ruin you, right? You know, one stupid word out of your mouth, it could ruin you. I see it happening all the time, right? You know? Yeah. Okay, everybody. Have a great night and we'll see you Wednesday. Bye-bye.